So we are on the issue of, and of course the lectures will progress, and tomorrow we are going to talk about the vision of God in terms of what He envisages from humanity at large, and then on the hereafter, and then on the being of God and relationship of God with us individuals. We'll progress in that sequence. But today we pursue the theme of, well, how do we now purge the soul of its inadequacies? How do we purge the soul of its falsities and whatever alien identity it has assumed? Now, we are embodied creatures, but we are not bodies. We are beyond bodies, as we have been stating. We are beautiful souls who are neither male nor female, young or old, black or white, Muslim or Christians, theist or atheist. We are beyond it all. As that beautiful poet calls out to the Kaaba, he says, "O Kaaba, what be with you? I have traversed upon land and seas, crossed oceans to come to you, and I go around you with such toil and such trouble." The Kaaba responds, "It is because you come to me with your body. Had you intended me with your heart, I would have left the sacred precinct of Makkah and rushed towards you and turned around you. For in your heart is the light of the divine. The God that you look for inside me is inside you, if only you knew your worth." So how do we purge this soul within this bodily realm from its inadequacies, its falsities? So we talk about destiny. What does it mean to be plunged inside the world of destiny, where everything is firmly fixed, meticulously designed? From the Quran, we find two types of destinies. One is the destiny of the body and the bodies, and the other is the destiny of the soul. By and large, the destinies of the bodies are fixed. We can't do much about them. But the destiny of the soul is left undetermined. If God had determined the destiny of the soul, and of course there's a lot of discussion that I can't have right now, so refer to the talks of last Muharram to get more insight into the topic. As if God had determined the destiny of the soul already, then God would become very oppressive. And this chance of living here would not be a proper chance. It would just be for Him to acknowledge or to prove to Himself and to us that, look, whatever I know is accurate and nothing can defy my knowledge. In order for this to be a proper opportunity to mend ourselves and to reclaim our glorious rank, this life has to be a real opportunity. So therefore, the destiny of the soul is left undetermined. The Prophet said, each one of you simultaneously has a place within hell and heaven. You will decide which one you vacate and which one you inherit. You are in the middle of both. You will decide and you will make that decision and you will work towards it. So now, the bodies are determined. The souls are undetermined. For the soul to flow through a predetermined system, it has to come within a state of fluidity and needs to understand destiny and circumstances. Now, but it's not as simple as that either. And I want to just take a few moments to explain that properly. Now, as far as the bodies are concerned, think about these things carefully. Maybe not too deeply, but to an extent. Our features, did we determine them? They came through our DNA, right? Our genders, did we determine them? No, it's not our determination. Even when we have cosmetic surgery to modify our features, we will make ourselves beautiful in accordance with the societal notions of beauty. How much freedom is there in that? So our bodies are not determined. Our genders are not determined. Are the circumstances of our birth chosen by us? They are determined. Are our religions of cradle determined by us? They are predetermined. Are our social status, political status, economical status determined by us, chosen by us? No, they are all predetermined. Is our course of education chosen by us? If it was, I would not have chosen to become a Maulana. Seriously. You chose that for me. It's your fault. None of it is chosen by us. How much of these decisions are being made by us? I'm going to go to the bottom line here because I need to express this very quickly. Even the routes that we have taken to gather here today in this hall was not by our choice. We only took the choices that were available. There was no other choice. You had several routes. You put in the Google Maps, if that's what you're using, it'll give you the shortest route or the fastest route, and depending on which one you prefer, you will go for it. Why did you prefer the fastest as opposed to shortest? Because you are late. Why did you go for the shortest as opposed to the fastest, even though it was slower? Because you had the time. Even the drinks that you will drink is determined. You only have choice of coffee or that thing you call tea over there, right? How can you chastise the soul with something like that? These are directed choices. There is no freedom, especially in whatever you're serving down there. And the Fatiha, in accordance with your health, whatever your body is lacking, whatever you feel like, whatever aroma takes your fancy, you will eat that. I mean, if you're an Iranian, you won't go for the samosas and the bhajiyas. I mean, if you're an Indian, you will go for the spicy food. Tell me, how much freedom is there? These are determined choices. The body is following a path preset for the body. It is the soul that can relieve itself of captivity through a predetermined bodily universe. But it's not as simple as that either. But you see, if you look at the Quran, it gives you this glimpse that these destinies are choreographed and they're always coming into play meticulously. So the verse of A'raf 33 says that we gave them all the signs. The locust, the frog, the blood, the floods, so that they reach a point they were meant to reach, the point of utmost destruction. There was a justification needed by the Quran to bring them to that point. It was all set in motion. It was going to happen. And finally, when they came to that point, they became worthy of destruction and they were destroyed. It was all set in motion very, very meticulously. Same, when you look at the verses of the hypocrites in Surah Anfal or in Surah Al-Imran, they will say, if only our comrades were to have stayed back with us and not gone with the Prophet, they would have been alive. The Quran says, tell them, when their appointed time comes, they will be dragged by their forelocks to meet with their deaths at a point prescribed already. They will not be able to resist it. They will make those choices that take them there to that destiny, for that destiny to become fulfilled. You can see this, that there is something happening. Then you find the Quran talking about the prescribed time of death. لَوْلَا خَرْتَنِي لَأَجَلٍ قَرِيبٍ Surah Munafiqun. Oh Lord, why did you not spare me? وَلَنْ يُؤَخِّرَ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهَا. And God will not spare a soul when its time approaches. It will be taken, no matter what we want to do. Similarly, the Quran talks about the time for the destruction of whole nations and communities. لَا يَتَأَخَّرُونَ سَاعَةً وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ. They will not be spared for a moment beyond their time, nor will they be taken a moment before their time. Their time is over. You know, if we read the Quran seriously, accurately, without any presumptions, we will see a world open, and you will see it's not the world that we are acquainted with. It's a phenomenally different world. And I'll say this much, it's baffling, it is confusing, it is painful to wake up to that reality. It is. It's not an easy journey, it's a traumatic journey. But once you awaken to it and begin to live with it, my God. It is the best life ever that you will lead. It will be a life with God. Well, it's traumatic awakening, but try it. Now, does that mean the bodily destiny doesn't change? It doesn't. The bodily destiny can also be changed. That's the marvelous thing. يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ وَعِنْدَهُ أُمُّ الْكِتَابِ. Allah wipes clean whatever He wants, and He firmly establishes, and He has the mother of all books. By the way, I'll be talking in a few days' time that every nation will be raised with their imam. Imam means a book in this instance. It doesn't mean a person. It's quite clear from the Quran. Imam means a book. Yes? In some places, imam means a leader like Ibrahim. But these verses, every unas will be called with their book. The book here is the book of deeds. It's a phenomenal thing that's happening, and we need to maybe open up to it, to these secrets of the Quran. Now, if you look at the Quran, you find these odd verses. When it comes to Qarun being engulfed by the earth opening from beneath him, فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضِ وَمَا كَانَ لَهُ مِنْ فِئَةٍ يَنْصُرُونَهُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُنْتَصِرِينَ. We caused the earth to open up from beneath him, and he was swallowed up together with his house. There was no group that could help Qarun except for Allah. Can you see this? We is something and Allah is someone else. The we who is acting is saying we caused Qarun's destruction and none could have saved Qarun except for Allah, which shows that Allah has the final say. The destiny maker can change the destiny as well. So we have that in the Quran as well, but we want to work through it carefully. Then there are conditional destinies, and it's amazing. لا يغير الله نفسا لا يغير الله ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. God does not change the state of affairs of a people until they change their own state of affairs. Here is a conditional destiny. Then God does not remove blessings until they change their ways. Then God removes blessings. These are conditional destinies. In Tansurullah yansurkum wa yuthabbit aqdamakum, in Surah Muhammad, if you assist Allah, Allah will assist you and He will make firm your standing. So you're seeing at one level there is destiny that is fixed. There is another level, the bodily destinies are changing. So you have this in the Quran. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you are grateful, I'm not going to go into the spiritual meaning of this. If you are grateful, I will give you more. If you are grateful, I will give you more. That's what the Quran says. It's talking about human beings having the agency of changing destiny. Even though the destinies are fixed, the destiny maker will change it. Sadaqah repels tribulations. We have that. Familial relations increase life. Imam Ali went to the graveyard once and he reported to have said that so many people who are here have come before their time. Their times were longer. They were supposed to live for long, but they've done certain things due to which their deaths have been hastened. They've cut short their time. Then charity, increasing wealth, and prayers, repelling evils and repelling death. We have all of these things. So now, this is all in the bodily realm. Now tell me, when I am changing my destiny and I pray to God, what is happening? I mean, it's natural for me to want a change in destiny, isn't it? I want a better destiny for myself. That's my human condition. I want to protect myself. I want to prolong my life. I want to have a comfortable life. Why am I doing this? Because I feel I am the body in which I am living. Can you see that? Why do I want more wealth than what God has given me? Not because the soul has awoken to itself, but because the body feels it is the real being. Can you see that? It is good to be healthy, but my yearning for health and pleading with God and making deals with God and doing all this manna to do them, they're all good. They're all in place. Nothing is wrong. I just want to probe deeper into it. We need to be true to our own humanity. This is the way I feel. I mean, I say to Allah all the time, I know this is a bit of a deception, but that's how I feel, and I'm going to be true to it. I always say to Allah, I know that what you have decided is the best. But right now my weakness wants otherwise, so change it for me. And I don't feel ashamed or embarrassed of Allah saying that. There's nothing wrong in being transparent with God and being honest with God. Yes, I know you planned the best, but I'm weak. I can't handle it. Change it for me. Oh, please change it for me. Of course, you can't tell God to do. You have to pray to God, right? It's just the way I'm saying things. Why are we so concerned with changing destiny? Because we haven't awoken to ourselves. I'm going to repeat this towards the end. The words attributed to Hussein ibn Ali. What are they? Now, whether anybody heard them or if they've been narrated by a later Imam, Ridan biqada'ihi. I am content and happy with his decree. Can you see that? A father did pray for his Akbar. A father did pray for his Akbar. There is no doubt Hussein prayed for his Akbar. But when Akbar is taken, he turns to God and he says, what makes this bearable is that you accompany me in this moment. Then he turns to Akbar, he says, glory be to Allah, who has spared you the tribulations of life by taking you away to himself at such a tender age. You see, when we talk about changing destiny and making prayers for changing destiny, we are actually re-emphasizing to ourselves that we are in a state of alienation. Why are we in this constant state of turmoil? Why are we never happy? Why are we always troubled? Think about this carefully. If indeed our God knows best, if indeed the destiny maker is the one who has our best interests at heart, if indeed Allah is needless and He wants to give everything away to us, do you think He would destine anything bad for us? Of course He wouldn't. Then why are we so resistant? Why is there this struggle within us to accept what He is giving? Now I understand, and this question is legitimate, and it will come. What about Palestine? Of course, it's not simplistic. There are two destinies here. Destiny for us to change their destiny, and destiny for the individual who is suffering in Palestine. The individuals who are suffering in Palestine, they are crying out, Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. They are trying their best to change their destiny, and when they are not being changed, like Hussein, they are saying, I am happy with God. Theirs is that state. They have arrived somewhat closer to the truth. We are supposed to change their destiny, and we are not arriving at that. There's an accurate way of understanding things. We can't conflate that if you say this and what about that, it fits in. We just have to take time and resolve it quietly. But for us to make these many du'as, in a sense, is us saying to God, I know better than you, and I'm not really happy at you. That's the implication there, right? Isn't that the implication? Change it for me, my personal destiny. I'm not really happy at what you're doing. So think through this very, very carefully. We have to change our destinies and we have to be true to our humanity, but also think into it. Once in a while, it is better to say to Allah, give me that Abrahamic soul, where I can say to Gabriel, if He wants, let Him burn me to ashes. If He wants, let Him take the heat out of the fire. Let it be His choice on this occasion. Once in a while, it is better to practice that. Now, let us go into the theme properly. We stated that the souls become determined through false identities. And we are always trying to preserve that identity. That's why we have this state of turmoil. Why is he doing this? Why is she doing this? Why is he hurting me? Why that guy is saying whatever they're saying to me? That's the turmoil we are in, because the soul has been trapped within an identity that it is not. And the soul is trying to retain that identity which it is not. By Allah. Blessed is the soul that opens its arm and says, Allah, take me. Take me. Blessed is Ali, who says, oh angels, if you were to chastise me and burn me in hell, I will say, oh Allah, if you have chosen this for me, then I burn in your love. And I will cry out to the angels, I love the one who torments me herein. Blessed is the soul of Ali. Blessed is the soul of Hussein, who cries out and says, O thirsty swords, come spare me not. Blessed are these souls. Blessed is Muslim ibn Awsaj, who says to Hussein, if I'm cut into pieces and then burnt, I will yearn from Allah to restore me once again, that I may be cut again in your love. Honestly, blessed are those souls. And we need to get there. So a soul needs to be in a state of fluidity. What does fluidity mean? That it is not stuck in an identity. Look at this world. Do you find anything the same in 2 moments? There is nothing but dynamism. Everything is singing the glorious song of God. It's dancing in the love of God. The only thing that gets stagnated is the human soul. The planets are moving, the galaxies are moving, things are getting born, things are dying, everything is on the move. It is only I who wants to seek permanence in a world of change. Blessed is the soul that gives itself away to the unknown. Blessed is the soul that gives itself away to lack of control. Blessed is the soul that is not itself in any 2 days. It's constantly changing. That is the meaning of fluidity. That is when tests begin to work. God tests us in order to awaken ourselves that, look, you are stuck. And on a side note, do you know why our tests are repeated, similar tests again and again? Because we don't graduate. If we graduate, the test will change as well. But because we are stuck at that same point, the same test is coming again. You had a lousy Maulana last time round and you got another one now. Salawat. And I just remembered he was a very good Maulana, by the way. You didn't thank Allah enough, so now you're faced with this one. The blessings have been removed. In a world of change, you can't retain yourself. It's a world in which there is no permanence. The golden rule is one of change, no finality, no permanence, full mutability. We need to mutate constantly. If a seed does not allow its chest to be torn apart, the plant will not sprout from within it. If a plant does not want to give itself up, a tree will not grow. And if a tree does not want to burst forth with its branches and leaves, it will not function as a fruit-bearing tree. Do you expect our souls to be any different than the laws of creation that are there? Last time I did that, it really hurt, by the way. We have to go through change. The law is one of fluidity, mutability. Destined universe is only there for the body in order to allow the soul to liberate itself. The destiny of the bodies are fixed, are directed, can be changed, can be tweaked. But the destinies of the soul are within our hands. You see 2 people. Both of them are faced with the same problem. One grows, one falls. Iblis disobeys. Adam disobeys. Iblis becomes the arch enemy of God. Adam becomes the chosen one of God. Both of them are caught up within a destined system. Don't. Don't look at me today. Both of them are caught up within closed system. Both of them are reacting differently. So the Prophet says that when the fetus comes of 4 months, the angel blows the spirit within the fetus. Then God says, write the destiny. It's a very symbolic language. Write the destiny. How should we write the destiny, oh God? Look at the forehead of the mother. It's very telling, this language, the language of the Prophet. Prescribe its health, its sickness, the duration of its life. Then God says, but at every point with the proviso that I can change whatever I want to change. Write down the full destiny of this child, but at every instance keep a proviso that I can change whatever I want to change. Now look at the Quran, how beautifully it explains. No tribulation befalls you upon the earth or within your soul, but that it has been prescribed prior to the initiation of the earth. But that it has been prescribed within a book prior to the creation of the earth. What does it say after? So that you may not rejoice at what comes to you, and you may not be grieved at what leaves you. What a phenomenal verse. Everything is prescribed. You will get things will be taken away from you. These are destined for your body. What you have to understand at the level of the soul is that you can't be moved with the gain and loss of the body. The soul has to be fluid. When things are taken away from you, the soul is unperturbed. It has to remind itself, it was for the body, not for me. I have nothing to do with the body. The destiny is made for the body. I have to grow through the fluctuating destinies of the body. Detach myself of it all. Yes, my mother has been taken away from me. It pains me to no end. But in that pain, the soul mellows and loses the love of this world and begins to grow. It's a predetermined system. The body is going to gain. The body is going to lose. But if I become overjoyed at the gain of the body, what does that say to me? That I have become the bodily identity. I'm preserving that false idol. That is the point of shirk. Look at how phenomenally this verse brings it out. The soul has to be in a state of neutrality as it progresses through life. The more it progresses, the more it's supposed to purge itself from the body, from the bodily, from approval of people, from disappointments of people, from likes, from dislikes, from health, from sickness, from wealth, from poverty, from every single thing. A soul can sweep the street and be a king in front of God. A soul may be seated on the throne of Solomon and be a beggar in front of God. A soul is in full glory and power and is powerless as far as the soul is concerned in front of God. A soul has no power and yet stands in front of 30,000 swords like a raging lion and offers his chest, come and take me. So the body is undergoing constant changes of destiny. The soul is learning to detach slowly and gradually. The Blessed Prophet has said, "La amliku li nafsi naf'an wala darra." I have no control over gain or over loss. The Blessed Prophet is taken in a life in which is given no reassurances. Can you imagine? This is the Blessed Prophet. The reason why he conducted this journey and why God made it so difficult for him, so that his soul may be purged fully and so that he can be an example for us. Think about the example of the Blessed Prophet within the Quran. Oh Muhammad, we may show you what we have promised to do to them, or we may kill you before that. So the Prophet Muhammad doesn't know from one day to the next if he's going to be alive. Now imagine in that situation for him to take decisions. He has been given no guarantees, no assurances of what is going to come. Muhammad, one of the verses says, "Go forth and those who are believers with you. We might kill you. Go forth." After the loss at Uhud, the Prophet is told, go forth, go and receive them again. The Prophet doesn't know what will happen. What he is doing here is, he is coming in that state of fluidity and neutrality. I am going forward. I am not going to be hung up on the possible forecasted results of what I'm doing. Of course, the Prophet strategized later on in Medina, but initially he was taught to rely purely on God. Purely on God, and just move with God. Imagine, that's how his soul was trained. And then the prophets are quoted in the Quran. إِنَّهُ لَن يُصِيبُنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا. Nothing, no tribulation will befall us, save what Allah has prescribed for us. And if Allah has prescribed it for us, then we embrace it happily. That is how their souls were growing and coming into the state of fluidity. So the secret is embrace destiny. Embrace destiny. And after embracing destiny, free ourselves of inner struggles. We are struggling, aren't we? We are always constantly struggling. But if we can embrace destiny, the first thing that will happen is the burden will be lifted from the soul. Isn't that beautiful? Imagine when God becomes this proximate with the soul and the trouble comes to the mind, you say, oh Allah, I put my supplication to you. If you answer it, then you answer it. If you do not answer it, then you do not answer it. There is nothing more than this that I can do. I relieve my soul of my burdens and I make my case to you. Embrace destiny. Relieve the soul of its struggles. Let the soul be free. Those that we wish would live with us will eventually die. Make no mistake. Zainab comes to say, in whose care do you leave me, oh brother? Look at me. And she's weeping. Do not tear the arteries of my heart through your tears, oh sister. Hussein, in whose care do you leave me? My grandfather was better than I. So was my father and mother and brother. Death spared them not. It shall take me as well. No matter how long I live, I will die. Your brother will be taken away from you. Bear it with patience. How phenomenal these creatures were. So yes, try and change destiny, but be content with the outcome. No matter what the outcome is. Now I've got to finish this and I'm going to run through my time, but I won't have anything else. I won't have any other time. So in Islam we are discouraged from palmistry, astrology and istikhara. Do you know why we are discouraged? It is because of our weakness within. And we want to retain that false identity that we go to palmists. We look at astrology. I mean, it's fine. You can do all of those things, right? But with the right attitude. We do istikhara, don't we? Trust me. These are signs that the soul is in the grip of the body. Istikhara was never meant to be this. The Prophet said, Astakhir billah. Oh Lord, I've taken this decision. I seek the best outcome from you. Then, when the outcome was contrary to what we assume it to be the best, the Prophet would say, well, that was actually the best outcome. Because God knows best. I made a business deal. It was a lousy business deal. But in that I've grown that I will never make a business deal with that person again. Istikharas and these practices that we have in religion are totally inconsistent with the spiritual teachings of the religion. The soul is supposed to give itself over to God and be trusting of God after due diligence. But because we are so hung up on istikharas, it shows how religion has failed. We need to give ourselves to Allah. Now the ultimate that I want to talk about is Hussein. This is the man. the father of free man. The reason why he's the father of free man, because he was a free man. He was liberated. Look at what he supplicates, and it's amazing. In his Dua Arafah, there are many moments that we think are epic moments in Dua Arafah. But there is one moment where we think, Subhanallah, I have not heard anything as profound as this. He comes to a point, and you've heard that other epic statement, who has found you? But there's another epic moment. This is profound. He turns to God and says, Oh Allah, allow me not to plead with you for the postponement of a destiny that you have chosen to hasten. Oh Allah, allow me not to plead with you for the delay of a destiny that you have chosen to hasten. Allow me to accept your decision as and how you have decided. Bring my soul in that state of neutrality and fluidity where I have given up on control, where I am comfortable with living within the stormy waters, knowing that my ark is God, not the ship that carries me. What a soul! Imam Hassan had several children who gave their lives on the day of Ashura on the plains of Karbala. The youngest was 11 years old. I'm going to narrate Hazrat Qasim Shahada, but hear this one. Imam Hussain used to often come back to his own tents. And one of the things that is speculated is that he knew that his sister was filled with anguish. Because she said to him, when she sent him off, Hussein, keep on turning back and looking at me, so that I may behold your face. He would engage in battle and come back. On an occasion he came back. He dismounted from his steed, and the enemies mounted an attack. The cloth of the tent lifted, and Imam Hassan's young child came out. And he said, why do you kill my uncle? Imam Hussain looked at him, and he looked at Zainab, and surmised the intention of the young child. He said, Ya Zainab, ahlisihi. Zainab, grab him. Zainab went to grab him, but he ran. As somebody was about to strike at Imam Hussain, the child came between Imam Hussain and the sword. And the child was struck. Imam Hussain held him to his chest. He said, like this, O child, shall we go before your father and your grandfather. This is Hussain. At night he says, none of you shall live tomorrow. Leave this wilderness and save your lives. They pledged their loyalties. Qasim came. He said, uncle, will I be killed? He said, child, how do you find death sweeter than honey, O uncle? Hussain embraced him and cried out aloud. Akbar has been killed. The brothers of Imam Hussain, barring Abbas, have been killed. The sons of Imam Hassan have been killed. Qasim comes to Hussain. Imam Hussain looks at him and embraces him, and both of them cry. And then Imam Hussain prepares him. Kitab al-Irshad says that his sandal, Hamid ibn Muslim says his sandal was broken. It was hanging from his foot, and his feet did not reach the stirrup of the horse's saddle. When Hussain sent off Qasim into the battlefield, Hussain with Abbas stood on top of a hill, and Abbas was there to instruct Qasim from afar. As Qasim entered into the battlefield, they narrate it was as if the first splinter of moon is advancing. The reason for that is because Hussain cut the turban of Qasim in two. He placed one part over his shoulder and chest, and another part he tied around his head, and took a strap and placed it upon his face and around his neck, so only that portion of his face was being seen, as if it was the crescent of the new moon. Umar ibn Sa'ad says, Azrak, put him to death. He is but a child. Let my son do away with him. His son comes, Qasim puts him to death. Umar ibn Sa'ad is enraged. Put him to death. They surround him. Hamid ibn Muslim says, there was somebody standing next to me. He said, do you know what? I'll strike this child. Hamid ibn Muslim said, let him be. They will put him to death. He said, I have sworn I will put him to death. He goes and strikes Qasim upon his head. As Qasim descends, the Maqtal says, Hussein, like an eagle, descended from on top of the hill in pursuit of the killer of Qasim. As they came to save him, there was dust raised and nobody knows what is happening. Hussein struck the killer of Qasim. Hamid ibn Muslim says, there was so much dust and sand that I could not see anything, but I could hear the wailing of Hussein. As the dust settled, I saw Hussein's cheek on the chest of Qasim, as Qasim was rubbing his heels. And Hussein said, oh child, it is difficult indeed for your old uncle that you called upon him and he reached you not. Qasim breathed his last. Hussein carried his body. Hamid ibn Muslim narrates in a way that Qasim's chest was in Hussein's arms and his feet dragged against the dust of Karbala. Hussein came and placed Qasim next to the body of Akbar, then placed his hand upon the chest of Qasim, and he looked towards the heavens and he said, oh Allah, Hussein's children have been taken away from him. Fatiha.